Welcome back into the Cheap Seats. I am your host, RB, Ryan Banowitz. And man, I'm just blessed today. Hashtag it. Hashtag blessed. Not only did I get to talk to Rick Jones from Tulane back in the Great Scott Show, someone decided I'm good enough to get to talk to Jim Hightower from STM as well. Legendary head coach. He's been in the game for over 4 decades. And he's still at it. He just led STM so close to a state championship. I was there. That atmosphere was electric. And now I have the privilege again of talking to head coach Jim Hightower of the STM Cougars. Coach, I've had the honor of talking to you before during high school football season, of course, whenever you're coaching the STM Cougars. But we're talking about a different occasion this time here in the Cheap Seats. Jim Hightower of the STM Cougars is my guest. And, Coach, you're being inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame this weekend. What does it mean to you that you're going into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame specifically?
Well, that is a really tough question because, first of all, I'm just in awe of the group that are in that hall, and I feel really unworthy to be included in that group, but I'm going to do our best to represent all the people that made this happen because, really I'm just a small part of our success. Our coaches, players, families, fans, they're the ones that make our program go. So, it's a great honor and one that I'll sure treasure for the rest of my life. But I'm doing it as a representative of all those people that really made our success happen.
Yeah, Coach, and you've been coaching for over 40 years, and this year I was with your team in the Superdome, a place that you had been trying to get into for such a long time, and the electricity that was in that building with your fan base and everything, just even getting to that point at this point in your career must have been so amazing. And to you, what has kept you still at this point in your career so involved, so in love with the game?
Let me say this. First of all, that was an amazing experience. Our fans were super. Our team was super. I was so proud of the way our kids handled that whole experience and the way they conducted themselves. We played a really hard ball game, and we came up short, but the kids did such a super job in their preparation, and they didn't let the situation overtake their concentration on doing the job on the field. So, really proud of our fans. That was a great day to be a part of the STM family. And the thing that keeps me excited about it are those young kids and, those Friday night experiences. There's no place like a sideline on Friday night as far as I'm concerned. If everybody could have the excitement that takes place down on that sideline, I don't think we'd have a drug problem in this country. It's just a wonderful place to be and to be a part of that team, and knowing how much hard work and effort and preparation went into it, and everybody kind of pulling together, trying to accomplish something. It's a special feeling.
Coach Jim Hightower of the STM Cougars is our guest here in the Cheap Seats. And, Coach, how much does it mean to you that you do have that backing? Because, it's hard for some coaches to keep that support in there. And over your years, it seems like it's just gotten larger and larger and stronger and stronger. And how much pride do you take in just the support that your team has, the people that come in the stands and cheer you guys on?
Absolutely. I'm very proud of that, and I'm very appreciative of it. It's not taken for granted, that's for certain. There's several big factors, but I think one of the most important things is the way our assistants take care of their business and the way they treat kids. And, I think they've got the right perspective of what our role is as a coach and, what we're trying to get out of that football experience for our young men. And the fact that we include our families, our parents in everything. We talk about a football family. We really are a football family, and they add so much to that experience. So it was all of us. It's not a one man show, or it's everybody together that makes things happen like that.
Coach, you're going into the Hall of Fame this weekend, but I want to turn the clock back and look backwards at some of the early days in your coaching career. If you wouldn't mind, tell me about what things were like whenever you were first started getting as a coach and how you've watched things change throughout your years in football.
Well, it has changed a lot. I will say that. Number one, even when I started in my first years of coaching, I was blessed to have some really good assistant coaches with me for the ride. And that first year, I had Dale Weiner, who just ended up winning his 300th game this past season, and a Division I state championship at Catholic Baton Rouge. He was on my very first staff. Mike Boyer, who worked with me for several years in New Roads and came with me to St. Thomas More in Lafayette, and is now the principal at Turlings, does a wonderful job there, and also does a wonderful job representing the private schools in the LHSA Association. So, really two wonderful guys that started with me in New Roads. Gary Atkins, who's been the head coach at several schools, most recently at Abbeville. He was part of that staff. So we were blessed with some good coaches to start with, but we also had great families. Boy, New Roads was a great place to coach. Talk about salt of the earth type people, and they loved life. They loved their kids, and they gave us unconditional support throughout. So that was great. And as far as the football has changed a lot because back then we were running the wishbone, and it was run first, pass much later. And, of course, now, it's spread offense and, pass first and sneak in a run or two. So the game has changed a lot. The rules have changed in that respect to probably favor the passing game, but also the skill level of the athletes has changed so much that, throwing and catching is not the risky feat that it was, back in 1970.
And Coach, you had 259 wins at STM because you're still adding on to that. But
Right.
Some people might not really remember your state championship. You won at Catholic Point Capee in 1978. Take me back to that experience and what that was like, reaching that height.
Well, that was a really special group, a special year. They reminded me an awful lot of this team we just had this year because they never really talked about winning a game. It was just kind of the path that we took. We just prepared and we went out and played. They loved being around each other. They enjoyed practice. It was a magical year that year with that group, and this year's group reminded me of that. But we got to the state championship game. We were playing at Bernie Moore Stadium on the LSU campus and playing St. Ed's, who we'd played earlier in the year, and we'd had a close game with them. I think it was like 21-13 in week 6 of the season. So, we were expecting a really tough ball game. And we go out in the very first series, and they hold us on 3 downs. And we snapped the ball over our punter's head. And fortunately, he remembered one of the things I had coached him to do because when the ball was back in the end zone, I told him, kick it out of bounds and let's take a safety and we'll go on, And he remembered that and did that. And we took a safety, and we were trailing 2-0. And at halftime of that game, we were ahead 32-2. And so, a really dramatic turnaround and amazing feeling to walk in at halftime and know that you were going to win the state championship. So that was a real special group.
Coach, that was impressive right there. That was 38 years ago. You got a mind like a steel trap. I guess those memories.
Well, you remember some of those things. Some of the things you'd like to forget. Yeah, you also have trouble, forgetting. But yeah, that was a real special night.
It sounds like it. Sounds like it. But, Coach, I want to ask you about the stuff that you've taught your players off the field in your years coaching. Head coach Tony Robichaud of the Raging Cajun baseball program has talked at great length to me and to different people about the lessons he teaches his guys. And I imagine you have to have a philosophy on how to handle the young men that get sent in your path, in your life. What do you try to teach the young men that come through your program?
Well, I try to keep the message simple, but, hopefully it'll have a lasting impact. We always tell them, do the right thing. You know the difference between right and wrong. Your instinct is going to tell you, and, in your heart, you're going to know what's right and what's wrong. Just do what's right. And the other thing I really try and tell them is, always do your best. To me, the hardest job would have to be to try and do enough. I'm going to do good enough. Well, if you're trying to do good enough, you never know when the job is done. You never know. Do I need to do more? Do I need to do more? I tell them, do your best, and then let it be. If you've gone out and you've prepared as hard as you can prepare, and you've given your best effort, then you have to be satisfied with the results, because there's nothing more you could have done.
Head coach Jim Hightower of the STM Cougars is our guest. He's going into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. The induction ceremony will be this Saturday. And, Coach, I already asked you about what it means to be going into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, but you're going as a representative of the Acadiana area and STM and where you're from. I asked you how proud you were of that before, but to be a representative of this area, is there a lot of significance specifically for that in this event for you?
Oh, absolutely. Acadiana is a wonderful place to live. I'm really a California native, and the fact that I lighted here and haven't left for over 30 years I think, speaks a lot. This is my home, and I love Lafayette. It's a wonderful place to raise a family. The values and the mores and the joy of life is just can't be matched anywhere else. So very proud to represent Acadiana. Of course, last year Acadiana area had 3 people inducted in the Hall of Fame, so I'm proud to join that group a year belatedly. But Kevin Falk and Yvette Gerard and Jake Delhomme, were inducted together into the class last year. So proud to be joining that group.
Yeah, Coach, and of all the things on your resume that I've looked at, of course, 386 wins, a winning percentage of .764, but the most impressive thing to me is that in your 4 decades as a head coach, you've never had a losing season. How? How have you done that?
That's a good question, because I'm going to tell you, in my first year at St. Thomas More, 1986, we started out 0-5. We found a way to lose. We were in every game. We played so hard, and we were so close, but we just couldn't quite get it done. And we lost several close games, but we were 0-5, and so it looked pretty sure that was going to be a losing season. But we were able to turn it around and come back and win the last 5 to have a 5-5 year, and then we went on from there. The next year we were 7-3 for the first winning season in school history, and then the next year we made it to the playoffs for our first time. So we were close, and I guess I don't know. I guess just being fortunate, I guess, and knowing that a loss doesn't define your season. You're going to go on to the next week and being ready to compete again. So after 0-5. We weren't ready to shut it down. We were ready to go on and compete the next week.
Coach, I've found out that if someone's going to build a successful program, there has to be a strong foundation underneath it, and most of the time that foundation is built off the field. And it's either through faith or family and things like that. And what's the foundation really that helped keep your career up, whether that was specific people in your family that helped you, mentors, or just things in your own life, your faith that helped you keep on track for so long?
Well, faith is a big part of it, number one. I've been teaching in Catholic schools for 41 years, so I guess I feel it's part of my calling, or part of my ministry, to be a part of Catholic education. But my parents gave me a great feel for how to appreciate life, and to be adventurous in that regard. I was fortunate to have an outstanding high school coach, Ray Solari, who taught me a lot about setting goals and working hard and overcoming your perceived limits. Then I went to UC Davis, where I was coached by Jim Soker, first as a position coach and the secondary coach, and then became the head coach in my last 2 years as a junior and senior. And he went on to win 18 consecutive conference champions. Then it was an NCAA record. and he's in the College Hall of Fame as a coach. So I was around some good people on my team at UC Davis. My teammates and in fact roommate was Mike Bellotti, who went on to a great career at Oregon, and I think he's the athletic director there. Bobby Biggs, who's took over for Jim Stoker after he retired at UC Davis, and Paul Hackett, who was probably my closest of the friends. He was a roommate for 3 of my 4 years at Davis, and he went on to be the head coach at the University of Pittsburgh and USC, and served in the NFL as an offense coordinator and quarterback coach for about 6 or 7 teams over a 20-year career. So, I've been around some good coaches. I guess, some of it rubbed off on me, then having the great assistants that I've had,
And I'm sure a lot of your great coaching is rubbed off on some other people as well, Coach. Coach Jim Hightower is our guest, of course, head coach of the STM Cougars. And Coach, I already asked you about what keeps you passionate about the game, because clearly you're not done coaching yet. But have you started to think about what life after football might look like, or are you just a football diehard and you'll be locked in until the day comes?
Geez, I'm just loving going to work every day, and again, part of it's just being around the guys I'm with, and the young athletes that keep you young because they keep you on your toes, and you don't want to discredit them by giving less and best effort, and the coaches I'm able to do it with, they're more than just workmates. They're my best friends, and right now I can't envision not doing it, but I'm sure that day will come. But as long as, my health is good and my energy is high, I'm taking it a year at a time, just like I have the last 41 years.
Oh, Coach, I know I'm not the only one to speak this sentiment, but I hope you coach for a lot longer, because as long as you're at STM, I know there's going to be good stuff going on in town. Last one for you, Coach, and then I'm going to let you go. And thank you for spending some time with me here on my show. You've been able to guide a lot of young men throughout their life. They've been put in your path for one reason or another. And I've always said, coaches, it's almost like they have extended families in terms of they have a bunch of sons.
Absolutely.
Because you have to father them in the ways that if they run out of line, you have to correct them. You can't be too harsh, otherwise they might run away or shut down. You have to find the right line to walk. And how much of an honor and privilege has it been to you to handle the young men that you've handled, and really just been able to handle so many of them?
It's wonderful. It's wonderful to see them come back to the program and still feel a love for what took place as we were working together on trying to be the best football players we could be. That's really a big part of the reward. But also the parents that have the faith to entrust those their most valuable commodity in our hands, and it's no small task, and I realize that, we've got some responsibility that goes with that, and I'm just appreciative that they entrusted us to do that job.
Head coach Jim Hightower of the STM Cougars, an Acadiana legend. He'll be going into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame this weekend. Coach, please enjoy the ceremony. All of Lafayette will be rooting for you.
Well, thank you. I sure appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Bye.